I constantly ask myself, where's the enemy jungler? Can I gank this lane? Is it more punishing for me to head bot or top side? And what's the next objective? So the first thought that I have before I gank a lane is I envision it within my mind, how I can influence the gank compared to how the laner can influence the gank, and what advantages it's going to lead your team. Can I get more of a lead here than elsewhere, or just doing your camps? What are the negatives that could occur, like getting counter ganked? I consider the potential matchups as well as the jungle matchups. So you always have to think about a lane as your laner, as well as the enemy laner and their jungler, because there's always a chance of counter ganks. After that, it's about positioning and mechanics, how skills are about to hit, and the timing of when to start the gank. A good timing to get the ganking is when the laner is greeting. So the laner can be greeting for a CS, the laner can be greeting to trade with your teammate, and that's like the best time to gank. A few things that a lot of low elo junglers don't think about is that you can abuse the walls in the terrain if your jungler can hop over terrain. For example, Lee Sin, for example, Nidalee can hop over terrain, even Jarvan. Just use your EQ and then wait for the flag cooldown to come back. You can use the blast plants to go over terrain to change up your gank routes and then gank. That's how you can avoid a lot of wards. Just go through either the Baron Pit or the Dragon Pit. You can also use the Vision Plants to scout out for wards before you enter the lane through a certain point. If you do gank for a losing lane and the enemy jungler expects it, it's only going to be more punishing for your side. So you have to be very careful with that. But also, if you do gank for a losing lane and transition that lane to a winning lane or to even it out, that's really good, but you just have to be careful for the negative side effects if you were to fail that. After a failed gank attempt, the hardest thing to come back from is just tempo. The enemy jungler is always going to have tempo on you because he's going to be able to dominate throughout early experience leads, early skirmish leads. So you have to come back through either catching the enemy jungler's mistakes, like counter ganking him, or ganking on a strong side of the map where the laner can make up for your weaknesses. If your laners are all winning, then you don't necessarily have to influence their lanes. You just have to make sure that they don't get influenced by the enemy jungler. When setting up a counter gank, you should know where the enemy is, but they shouldn't know where you are. And how that works is vision control. So pink wards confirm that they have no wards on you, and after that, you should have your own wards on him, and pretty much you wait for the right timing. A lot of junglers forget to buy pink wards. Every single back aim to buy a pink ward, maybe two. I always put my pink wards around mid, so it depends on if you want it to put on the side lane bush or in the mid pixel bush near the dragon, or you can even just have it as something to clear the vision when you're walking to gank a side lane as well. You can either initiate the counter gank by going in before the enemy jungler reaches your laners, or you can wait for them to burn their spells and have a failed attempt on your laners and then attack them. If you have winning lanes, the best thing to do is to just straight up walk into the enemy jungle and take their camps, because when you do their camps, there is a chance you might find the enemy jungler there, and that just forces a fight. Maybe your laners will become involved. The enemy jungler may be looking to fight you as well, but since your laner is stronger, you should be able to push him out of that quadrant of the jungle, and it makes it very obvious of where he has to go next. So track the enemy jungler, fight the enemy jungler, and use those winning lanes to get towers, get dragons, get barons, get rift heralds. Your first instinct as a jungler, if the enemy jungler is making a play on the opposing side, is to see if you can react to that side, and if you can't, try and get more of an advantage on the opposite side. You're able to force a play, a tower dive, a gank, a objective play for the tower, for the dragon, or for the Rift Herald on the opposing side, because now you don't have to fear for counter gank threat. There's also another thing that you can do, which is to set up for the incoming play for the next few minutes of the game. For example, you can get wards around that side, you can clear to a certain power spike so you can head back to your advantageous side. A lot of low elo players make mistakes when it comes to timing, and they have a lot of dead time. And the word I use for this is dead time, because when you're walking from point to point and you're contemplating whether to make this gank or to go to this camp, you're wasting time just like you're in base or you're dead. So it's really important to be decisive, because the game League of Legends is a game of seconds, and if you waste a few seconds, then one of your laners could already be dead, or you would have lost the gank opportunity. Usually, if the jungle camps are always left open, that's not necessarily a bad sign if you are getting objectives, if you're getting towers, if you're snowballing the game. It can not be that unusual for a jungler to be able to take 3 objectives, towers or dragons, by 15 minutes if they aren't doing like camps, if they can always get ganks off, if they're taking the enemy jungler's camps. But you just want to make sure that you're doing something reasonable within the times that you aren't doing your own camps. Pretty much after every single one of your lanes have lost, it's really difficult to win from that point on convincingly or consistently. You have to just take it as a learning experience where going into the future, your next few games, you want to get a feel of what you could have done better in the early game to make it so you have at least one winning lane. Or say you have it be more even, you don't bleed as much. But if you ever do get to a situation where you have a scaling comp and you are behind by thousands of gold, just continue to play the game out and play off the enemy's mistakes.